Don't just live for tomorrow, or just live in yesterday. Just be glad for all you have that's in today.
Hey everyone, Connie here, and welcome to my blind reaction to RWBY Volume 8 Chapter 9. And this is going to be, okay, I was going to word that a little weird. There's no RWBY next week. I was going to say, like, this is going to be the last RWBY for, like, a couple weeks, but it's like, that would be worded really weird there. Yeah, there's no RWBY next week. Rooster Teeth is deciding to put off the next episode for a week because of the entire winter storm situation in Texas, which is a great idea, a smart idea. It's like no matter how close they are to finishing it, it's just the best idea at the time to wait, to not push their staff, and to take things as slowly and carefully as they can. It's great idea. I love it. I fully support this, and it's gonna suck not having another episode next week, but we'll get back to it. We'll get back to it. So obviously, there's not gonna be like any big replacement because it's like, how can you replace for only a week? But I'll figure out something to put up next Saturday for sure, just so we continue to have content and everything. I'll figure out something. And if it's anything notable, like anything major, I'll let you know. But in the meantime, okay. So last episode was pretty good. We got some big stuff happening. The Hound was defeated. Nora awoke for the first time since she went ham. Like, she went crazy using that electricity. And granted, she had to. Like, she had to do it to get them out of there. But still, it's like she's never taken on that much at once. So it's like it fried her circuits, to put it simply. But she's woken back up. Whitley is helping greatly. So most of what we got last episode was centered around that stuff. Willow's there. Willow helped out and everything. Blake and RWBY got a little moment, and that was most of the episode. We also got a tiny little bit at the beginning showing Cinder. Well, we didn't know it was Cinder until the end, but Cinder broke into the prison to rescue Watts. We don't know yet what happened to Jacques, Crow, or Robin. Like, honestly, right now, we have no idea what's happened to them. But Watts has been captured, and I think I mentioned it last time, but it's like, I almost feel like that's a good thing, because that means that he's no longer able to help Ironwood. And it's like, it's really sad that it's come to that point where it's like you'd rather have Watts in the hands of the bad guys than in the hands of Ironwood. That's really sad for just the state of Atlas right now. I mean, I don't necessarily want him in the hands of the bad guys either, but still. So really the thing we didn't check in on with the last episode, our first episode back after the hiatus, the one thing we really didn't check back in on yet was Yang's group. With permission from Winter, they're going to be heading into the whale to try and rescue Oscar. And so this was allowed by Winter despite protest from Harriet. So we're going to see, hopefully, that this episode, because I think they're going to probably need a break from the other side, because there's not really much else they can do at this moment. We got to catch up with this first, and then they'll probably move on to the next kind of scenario with Ruby's side. But yeah, because the big thing on their side now that the Hound is gone, is for Penny and Nora to get healed and fixed. And kind of just for everything to go a little more smoothly. But it's like they've already got the stuff going out to the crater, so maybe we'll see more of that this episode too. Thanks to Whitley. And Whitley's redemption arc has been great. I've really enjoyed it, and it all started because of what Willow said to Weiss in that episode when, well, Willow first appeared last volume. um, that Whitley was left here too. That he's a victim too. That he was left with their father as well. And so it's like, and now we get to see that fully in action, and it's just like this volume has done wonders for him. Um, and honestly, it feels natural. That's the big thing that I was always worried about with the possibility of redeeming Whitley, is that it would just feel like he goes from like this bratty, like asshole type character to a good guy just like that. But no, they actually made it feel natural. They made it feel believable. And so, yeah, I'm all good with it. But yeah, I'm really interested to see what goes on with this rescue mission. Because one, that's gonna be super fucking hard. I mean, rescuing Oscar from Salem, like this isn't just rescuing from one of the others in Salem's lot. It's like actually she's there. It's actually taking him back from her herself. That's a scary concept because she's scary. And even though yada yada, the hound thing with being made of person and everything, it's like less scary than she used to be. It's like, and I still stand by that, but it's she's still scary. On top of that, there are the others in there still. Hazel's there, even though he's shown a little bit of hesitation lately, which I hope does come to a head soon. Um, but Cinder is going to be there. Watts is going to be there. They're going to be there soon, at least. Tyrion and um uh oh wait, no, Tyrion's not there. Yeah, Tyrion left with Mercury, didn't he? Yeah, they left. Crap, I forgot about that. So likely Tyrion and Mercury won't be there. And Cinder and Watts probably won't be back yet, but might come back during it, but maybe not. So it's basically coming down to Salem, Emerald, Neo. Well, Neo might be piloting the ship that Cinder and them. Oh no, they're not in a ship. What am I talking about? Cinder's just flying off. I'm trying to remember everything that's going on right now. Hazel might be the only really big one who's there. Because Emerald, like, Emerald's not going to be able to do much, let's be honest. Like, Emerald's just not on the level that everyone else is. I like Emerald, don't get me wrong, and I really want to see her redemption arc. But, yeah, she's not on the same level as the others. Um, but this is going to be interesting then. And you know they're going to have to probably deal with Grimm as well, for obvious reason. I'm assuming they're going to have to come into contact with Salem. I assume that has to happen here. Like, I don't see how they could just not. The only thing I'm really worried about is if they get captured. Because Winter and them are under orders to basically throw a bomb in that whale's mouth that will blow the entire thing up. And if they're not out of there in time, if they get captured, that is bad. For obvious reason. It's just there's a lot that's going to go into this rescue mission, and I hope it's successful. I very much do, because I want Oscar to be rescued. And here's a question too: if during this, what about Ozpin? Because he is there. He is in Oscar again. He's back. So will he have a role to play here? There's a lot of questions that's going that, and that's good. I love that. I love that this volume is so heavy, so intense, so balls to the wall insane that we're having all these questions constantly, all these thoughts on what could happen and what might happen and how things are going to happen. I like that. That's what I want to see. So I am all kinds of good with this. Um, but we're just going to kind of have to see where this goes. We're going to kind of have to see what happens. Again, I assume we're getting that this episode, like very strongly assume. We'll probably get other stuff too, just at least a little bit. But also, we have to check in with Pietro and Maria, right? Because we know where they are, and they're probably safe right now. But we didn't actually check in with them last episode either. So there's that too. I almost forgot about them. There's a lot. There's just a lot. But we're gonna get this started and hope for the best. Um, and don't get me wrong, I love seeing these villains like just do all this horrible shit. It's so good, and there's just great villains, especially Salem specifically. But still, it's like we want to see our heroes succeed still. Anywho, so when the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black and then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the episode. So, that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. I feel like every time that I think that I've seen the best this show can be, every time that I think I've seen the best this show can be, I'm proven wrong. Like, this was just phenomenal. And easily, without question, one of my favorite episodes of the entire series. And it's proving my ideal that ideal's the wrong word. My thought that this series gets better at every volume. That every volume is better than the last. This is just continuing to prove that for me. And it's funny. My favorite character wasn't even in this episode. She was mentioned, but she wasn't even in it. And yet it's still one of my favorite episodes of the entire series. The payoffs we got here, the emotional depths, everything about Salem, like seriously. Like, I've said it before and I'll say it again here. Salem is without question one of my favorite villains of anything, period. And I talked about how last episode, I felt like the fact that she needed a human to create something like the Hound was kind of diminished the overall scariness factor of her and made her seem weaker. This episode helped rectify that because we get to see her in a direct battle in action. I think for the first time. I don't think we've seen her in directly in battle before. We've seen her use her powers. We've seen her attack someone, and we've seen like hints at a battle, but we didn't actually see the battle itself. Like when she and Ozpin fought, and it ended up killing their children and everything. But yeah, we never actually saw like Salem in actual battle before. And by God, if that was not one of the coolest things I've seen in this series. Like, getting to see her in action, fighting against them, whether it be her fighting against Hazel, whether it be her fighting against everyone else. And there wasn't a lot of it, mind you, but no matter what, it was cool. It's like it's just pure rule of cool here. um but it also fit in terms of the narrative, in terms of the story, and we see Salem is cracking. Salem is like, we see her snap multiple times in this episode. I mean, she's already had some issues with Cinder recently, and now multiple other allies of hers are betraying her. Hazel might have just fucking sacrificed his life to try and help stop her, as well as to just hold her back so everyone else could escape. Who knows what the fuck Neo is doing? Like, seriously, she might be on their side, she might not be. I can't tell anymore. She stole the lamp, though. That much is confirmed. And we do know that she saw what was going on. So that, I don't know how long she was there, though. Like, we don't know if she was there, like, when Oscar was talking to Ozpin, or if she came in with Hazel or whatnot. Kind of sneaking around all chameleon-like. Which is interesting. That, I mean, yeah, it makes sense that her powers could do that, but it's like, when I saw like the eyes open up like chameleon like in the background, and it's like my instant thought went to Ilya, and it's like, wait, no, that doesn't make sense. That would have been a huge twist, though. But no, it's like my instant thought went to that because she's the chameleon. But then it's like, wait, no, that doesn't make sense. And then it's like shown to be Neo. It's like, oh, yeah, I guess you can do that. It's like it makes sense that she could with her semblance and all, but at the same time, it's just like you never really saw her do anything quite like that before. Usually, she just disguises herself as other people or disguises objects, like the ship. We saw her disguise that. So this is a different application of her power than we've seen before, but I'm fine with that. But yeah, we have no idea what she's doing. We've seen that she's been angry at the way Cinder has talked about her, seeing her as an asset more than an actual person, an ally or whatever. And it's very much been theorized by pretty much everyone at this point that Neo is going to betray Cinder and Salem, which, yeah, I have always kind of agreed with. It just makes sense for her character, and just I never felt like she had any loyalty to Cinder. Like, once they started working together, it never felt like they were actually a team or anything. It felt like more like, oh, they're going to work together for the sake of their goals. But yeah, I don't know. And what if Neo ends up becoming an ally too? Like, we're seeing here that Emerald and Hazel have both become allies, and Emerald is actually still with them. The one who I always knew was going to end up becoming a good guy is now with our heroes, having turned against Salem. It's like, we knew this was coming, and it's like, I'm still super excited about it. And then Hazel, it's like, God. The entire thing about doing what Gretchen would do, it's like, damn, that hits hard. It's like, good on you, dude. Because he sees now that he was lied to all this time. That Salem was never on his side, that it was never about doing what was right for Gretchen. He sees now that he was being used, that his anger, his sorrow over losing his little sister was being used for the wrong purposes. He sees that now, and so he decides to help them. He decides that it's like, okay, Salem has kind of lied to me. She's used me. She's been a piece of shit towards me. And honestly, she terrifies me. Let's get you out of here, kid. I don't think he likes Ozpin or anything now, but it's more like and that's why he was like said to Oscar / Ozpin, because he knew Ozpin could hear as well. No more Gretchens. He doesn't want anyone else to suffer that and face that kind of possible future, that what happened to him. And honestly, when and if Salem is fully defeated and everything, I don't think they could go back to the way things were. I mean, for one thing, the Huntsman Academies were basically created to take on Salem and her forces. So it's like I just don't think they could go back to the way things are or were. I don't think there will be another Beacon. I don't think that Beacon Academy will be rebuilt. I might be wrong, and if I'm wrong, then I'm wrong. This isn't something like I think needs to happen, but I don't think it will. Or you know what I mean? It's not something that I think Beacon Academy never being rebuilt is not something I think needs to happen, but I think that that is what's going to happen. Really word, really weird having to word that. But yeah, that's kind of my theory on that at the moment. But it definitely seems like Hazel sacrificed himself at the end there, and maybe we'll get confirmation on that going forward. But that is how that came across. We still didn't get anything with Maria and Pietro. We got nothing more with the characters we followed last time, including Crow and Jacques and Robin. So we still have no idea how they are. This was entirely focused on this mission. Like, even the tiny little bit it went off of that was still just going to Winter and Marrow and all them, and Marrow questioning things like, if it was your sister, would you still do this, and would you tell them that you did this? And Winter's still, she's still struggling, and we know she's going to break at some point. We know something's going to do it for her, and we just don't know what. I don't know how this volume's going to end. I don't know where this is going to go. I just don't know at this point. I thought I knew, like I thought I that this volume was going to just end with Salem being defeated and Atlas and having to retreat or whatnot, but I don't even know if that's going to be the case anymore. Also, just want to say again, I mentioned in the reaction, but I just want to say again, the moment when Yang used her sticky bombs and blew that chest cavity out of Salem, and it's like you see like her upper body bent over, like just bent backwards, and when she's recovering, it's like really creepy. You see the chest cavity all like empty and stuff for a bit. It's like that was holy crap. It was gross. It was horrifying. It was really uncomfortable. And it's just like, God, I did not like that. That kind of thing freaks me the hell out. Um, as does just the paranoia of Neon and her team fighting in the front lines and all. Like I said, I love Neon. Like she hasn't had a lot of screen time. Like she's only been in 2 episodes basically. But I still love her character, and it's like I don't want to see her get hurt or die or anything like that in the front lines of this massive war that's going on. I appreciate her being shown again. I'm super happy and excited about that, but yeah, it's just ugh, little worried for her there. But yeah, this episode, it's like it did so much good. It was just so well written, so well acted. Like again, my God, just everything about Salem, everything about Salem. But it's like even the stuff like with Ren's development, the fact that Jean feels absolutely zero fear going in there to rescue Oscar, like everything about this is just fantastic. I had no issues that I could think of with this episode really. Nothing for sure, nothing substantial. It's just it was that damn good. It really was. I don't know where it's going to go from here. And again, I have no idea what the fuck Neo is doing, so I don't know whether we could trust her or whether she's doing something for her own purposes or whatever else. And if she is, like, is she going to use the question? Oh my, yeah, I assume Jin could probably understand her, even if she can't speak. So it's like, I don't know. I don't know. And now I have to wait 2 weeks. Like I said, this would have been a much better cliffhanger to leave off on for the hiatus. Because, God, that this would have been hard. Like, I've heard other people say, like, the hiatus was really hard after where it left off on. It's like, oh, okay, it was a little difficult, but I had other stuff to get me through it. It really didn't bother me that much. If it left off on this, if this is the episode it left off on before the hiatus, I would have been losing my mind. Even with Shira, even with other stuff, I would have been losing my fucking mind. And now we have next week off, and I'm gonna be losing my fucking mind. I don't know what I'm gonna do. And again, I fully agree with their choice to take the week off and everything. I'm fine with that, but still, it's just that was a cliffhanger. And not that the Penny one that they actually did leave off on wasn't. That was still a good cliffhanger, just not as good, not as intense, and it's jeez. Plus, again, it's just because this episode was so balls to the wall insane, because it was so fast paced and so much stuff happening so quickly. It's just that helped like amp up like the feeling like when watching it. Like my blood was pumping very hard the entire time. I was just like heart racing, edge of my seat, gripping the couch with like shit ton of force. I was like really like just I I, I don't know how to put it. I'm gonna have to definitely see it a few more times and definitely think about it a bit, but it's clear this is one of my favorite episodes. It might be my favorite. It, I don't know. It's hard to say that right now because again, I've only seen it once. It might just be that initial hype. And honestly, it's gonna be hard to beat out the the one episode that's currently my favorite that I can't think of the name of right now. The one where Salem and Ozpin's past is revealed. The Lost Fable, that's it. Um, it'll be really fucking hard to beat out the Lost Fable because ever since we saw that episode, that's been my favorite, and it's like, God, it's such a good episode, such a perfect backstory episode. But God, this episode was just so fucking good. Just I need to take a moment to breathe because like, my heart is still pounding. Like I'm still like really like just real not stressed out. That's not the right word, not the right term. I'm just like I feel like I'm still into it. I feel like I'm still watching and my pulse is still pounding super hard. And it's just like I need to just breathe for a moment. So just tell me in the comments below what you thought of this episode. Um, do you think Hazel's dead? And obviously, if you somehow know something, don't say anything. But for now, I'm Connie and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.